I got it made, you never delay. You came and you paid, surveyed the property you made. Put in an offer, you didn't have to say. I got it made for real. It's feeling like God in here. Bitch got that grace appeal. It's thick with annoying, what else am I supposed to feel? Won't you come in, put your feet up, how you waiting here? Let me back up while you do you, I'm on NFL. Check my feng shui, I can rearrange the chandelier. Get a show ready where you set it up. It's a grand premiere.
The girl talking gotta make them feel. I'm something special, I ain't just a vessel. I found your word was my way to heal. Now I'm outside trying to spread the message. The devil dripping, he been causing wreckage. My testimony went from declining to the upper hand, finally gave me leverage. What I felt was a stretch, it led to agility. You were the balance, I needed stability. All the allure, spirit so pure, from Father to Son like the holiest Trinity. Open arms, I receive the blessings. In every lesson, hope to see progression. The more you lead me to community, the more I see a need for intercession. Gotta pray for.
I'll be your temple, I'll be your sanctuary. You can come dwell here, won't you come and fill me? Jesus, have your way.
What's going on, everybody? And this is yours truly, Jasmine D. Milhouse, and I want to welcome you back here to the F.L.Y Show. For everyone that is returning, you all know we are here live every Wednesday, so welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new here, welcome. Get comfortable. Make sure you like, tag, and share. Let us know where you're watching from. Good evening from the great city of Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody, as you're joining in, make sure you drop in the comments where you're watching from. Tag somebody in here because you know I like to bring the heavy hitters on the F.L.Y Show. And in case you don't know, if you're new, the F.L.Y stands for First Love You. And again, I am your host with the most, Jasmine D. Milhouse. And as you all know, I like to say, I like interviewing industry professionals that are not afraid to share their stories, not afraid to let you in on their journey, to show you how they got to where they are. And this week is nothing different. So let me tell you about this guy right here real quick, okay? Because I've only known him. Y'all, look, some of these people y'all be thinking I be knowing for a long time because of our camaraderie and our rapport on this show. But this gentleman right here, I've only known him maybe a month or two, maybe. And when I tell you, this man right here is a force to be reckoned with, okay? Let me just say that. Before we even, all right, okay. Thank y'all for tuning in. But let me read his bio real quick. So Marques Ford has an innate passion for young people and helping those in need. He has dedicated most of his life to the cause of young people, their growth in life, and ultimately their growth in Christ. Elder Ford is a native of Salem, New Jersey, and the son of Marvin Ford and Kimberly Nelson. He is a graduate of Clarkston High School right here in the great state of Georgia. His matriculation in education has been a journey well sought after. He began his college career at the University of West Georgia, later earning his associate's degree, and he recently works for a big-known university in healthcare as a research administrator. He accepted the call of God on his life in the gospel of ministry in 2004. He delivered his first sermon and was licensed to preach the word of God on May 1st, 2005 at the senior pastor of under the late Bishop Quincy Carswell, the senior pastor of the Covenant Church. He serves as the pastor of community resources and has worked and continues to work in seeking out souls for Christ. So without further ado, I ain't gonna hold y'all long because I like to get in and get started. I don't like to prolong nothing. It is my pleasure, it is my honor to bring to you and introduce to many Marcus
What's
Ford.
going on? What's going on, Jasmine from Memphis, Maine? I know you from Memphis,
Oh no,
Maine.
no, 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 no. They watching from Memphis. They coming on the show from Memphis. I'm from Georgia. I'm a
Oh,
good
okay,
old
okay,
Southern
okay,
girl.
okay.
They
What's
on
going
here
on?
from Memphis watching.
Shout out Memphis. What's going on, Memphis? Y'all got some good barbecue down there.
Listen and do. Now, before we get into this, I always like to ask, how you doing, sir? How was your day?
I am great. I'm great. I had a great day today. So there's my baby's first day of school. I have a 9-year-old fourth grader, and I have a 5-year-old first starting kindergarten daughter. So I'm excited. They're excited. I had a great day today. How about you?
Listen, when I tell you getting these kids up out of the house for the summer, saving a little on my groceries, the groceries won't be disappearing so much because
Right.
I have a 20 soon to be 21-year old. I have a soon to be 17-year-old,
Good.
and don't judge me, okay? But I have a 4-year-old.
I'm not gonna. Why would I judge?
Listen, he slid in by the grace of God, okay? I
You know,
said,
hey, that's usually how it happens. So I got you. I got
you
you.
got me.
I got
All
you.
right. Okay, so my first question that I like to always ask is,
Mhm.
how do you define who Marcus Ford is?
How I define Marcus Ford, I would define Marcus Ford as someone who's passionate, someone who's encouraging, someone who loves people, and someone who just all around likes to have fun. My goal, figure my goal in life every day is to change somebody every day. No matter if it's just to put a smile on their face, no matter if it's to take them to take 5 minutes of their day to just get their mind off whatever they're going through. I want to make sure that somebody has left me feeling good and feeling great about themselves. Um, I love to have fun. I love to joke around. I love my family. I'm a very 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 strong family man.
Mhm.
I love church. I tell people all the time, you'll find me in one of three places: home, church, or at work. Only place you're gonna find me. If anybody tried to get me, they know exactly where to go.
Where you at, right?
But no, I really do. I pride myself on being a devoted husband, devoted father, and a devoted spiritual leader, one of the spiritual leaders for my church. So, very, very, very passionate about that.
Mhm. So with now, before getting to where you are right now, take us back a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, Salem, New Jersey.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about growing up. What was that like?
Okay. So let me break it all the way down. So technically, I'm born in Salem, New Jersey. It's a
Okay,
very, very, very small town in the southern part of New Jersey. People think
okay.
of the north as big cities, bright lights, and a lot of
Hmm.
going on. But Salem, I promise you, if you go into Salem, you would think you hit one of the country part of town in Georgia. You would see cows, cornfields. My city is, man, it's probably 2-3 miles long, if that. My city is that small. But I was born in Salem, New Jersey. Of course, to my mom, Kim, my father, Marvin. My dad went on to go into the army, so I was with my mother for about 3 or 4 years. We moved from Salem to Louisville, Kentucky. I was in Kentucky for about 3 or 4 years. My father came from the army to get me, and we moved from Louisville, Kentucky, up to Detroit, Michigan, for about a year and change. Then we moved from Detroit, Michigan, to North Carolina. So we moved a little bit. The reason why I came to Georgia, why we came to Georgia, was that my grandmother, my father's mother, and his sisters moved down to Georgia, and they wanted him here with them. So
Hmm.
we moved down to Georgia, and I've been in Georgia ever since I was probably about 5.5 years old. So came down to Georgia, and um, the rest is history. Been here for the rest of my life. So I tell people I was born in Salem, but I was pretty much born in Georgia. I'm not like the true ATL. I'm not a graded baby
You
Crawford.
know, great man.
Nah, I'm not that. I'm just pretty much raised in Georgia.
Listen, I can't say I claim Grady and all that because I'm not an ATLN. However they say it. But I've been in Atlanta for 19, almost 20 years now. So, but I'm from South Georgia. I was born in uh Leesville, Fort Polk, Louisiana, because my dad was in the Army as well.
Gotcha.
So, and we moved from Louisiana back to Georgia because
Gotcha.
my mom and my dad was originally from again, small town like yourself called DeSoto, Georgia, 229 something county, where it's a mile long, and the population, I tell you now, is a good 200 people, and dwindling. Okay.
Lord.
Like we had dirt roads, still got dirt
Yeah.
roads. So I'm a country girl.
Yeah.
And so for me, I can relate to that. And going through all that moving, being, a quote unquote a military guy, getting to Georgia, what was that footing like for you? Like, how was it for you to do all that uprooting and settling and uprooting and settling? Like, what was that like, all those transitions?
It was honestly, it was very, very smooth. I give all credit to my father. Pretty much he's been with me, or he's raised me since I was about 5 years old, and I give all extreme credit to him. He literally made every moving situation or every moving transition as smooth as he could. It was almost like just having I took it like having a journey, just on another trip, going on another fun journey, and we just made fun out of it. And
Right.
it's just been me and him since then. And he's my very, very, very best friend. I mean, we talk daily, and I am the man I am today because of him. Because when he moved, he's been the father figure, if you will, to his mother and his three sisters, my three aunts. So it was almost as if he had to do it. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I don't even think we would be in Georgia if it wasn't for them. So but he's definitely made every situation smooth. I mean, yes, we struggled. Yes, there were times where things didn't happen how I wanted them to. I mean, I was a kid; I didn't know any better. All I knew is that he made it happen.
Right.
Whether it was keeping the lights on, food on the table, no matter how big or how small the meal was, he made it happen, and he made sure that I did not miss a beat. I never went without. He was always there. He was, it wasn't like he was, a deadbeat dad or he wasn't around. He was always there. So it made it very, very, very smooth. The transition was actually seamless. Actually, it didn't even feel like we were just kept up rooting. I was just like, okay, like, hey man, we got to go live here. Okay, cool. Hey, how you like it over here? I'm cool. So I was cool with it. Like where I am now, I listen. Like what can I say at 5 or 6 years old? No, daddy, I don't want to go there. No, I had to go.
Right.
Got to go.
Right. But the beautiful part about that is he was there, and active. That's the beautiful part. A lot of people, unfortunately, does not have that, don't have that testimony. But to see that he was hands-on and active and up front and center, no matter what was going on, no matter what it looked like, and he made sure that you was comfortable, and even giving you the ability to to voice how you feel and to give your say so, even if he still made you do what he wanted you to do. The simple fact that he listened to you and respected how you feel, but still gave you guided correction, say, son, I hear you, I understand, but unfortunately right now we just got to do this, and what has that meant for you with knowing, did you even know and understand the depth of him giving you a voice at such a young age?
Yes, I mean, yes, I would say yes and no. The reason I would say, I'm gonna start with no first. No, because as a kid, like a small kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, I'm just trying to get through the day to day, having fun, going outside. I'm not worried about life. But as I got older, our conversations changed. He began to be more in tune with what I felt. He began to be more in tune with how I view things, my opinions, like you said. And our conversations went from father-son conversations to more like brothers. Like he's literally like my big brother, even though he's my father. If you, I promise you, if you were to see us interact, you'd be like, ain't no way this or that. Like we literally interact like that. But no, growing up, he gave me a voice. He will always let me know that it's okay for me to voice how I feel and tell how I feel. And I would say to him that, like, he'll ask me something, and I say, well, can I be honest, Dad? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. And I'll be honest about it. And we will have a discussion. It never, I can tell people this all the time. I've only gotten 2 whoopings my entire life, 2 by him, period. But neither one of them were with the belt, all hands. He was a strong guy, played football, basketball, all this stuff. He was in the
So
army.
you felt it.
I felt all 5 fingers on my behind. I felt it. It was listen, but but he no, he gave me an opportunity to speak and to have actual mature conversations from life to girls to schooling, everything. Like even to this day, like I pride myself on being the husband and father that I am because of him. I call my dad the blueprint because he's all I knew growing up. Not saying that my mother wasn't around. My mother, she had her own thing going on and everything, which is why I was with my father. And I call him the blueprint because he is the guy. He is the one to me. Like I tell people all the time, he is. If anybody that knows me knows that I'm the way I am because of him. If you see how I acted, I promise you, it's straight off of him. If he was on here with me tonight, right now, you'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I see where you get it from.
Right.
But no, and he always felt that it was very important for me to see him there. Like he's never missed anything that I've ever done from Little League baseball. He was my actual first coach when I started playing Little League baseball. He was one of my coaches. When I got into high school and started playing high school baseball and basketball, he was right there. When I started preaching, he was right there. So he's always been there. And to see that, it overwhelms me a lot of times. Even now, when I'm up preaching, I'm up speaking, and I see him in the audience, I always acknowledge him. And before I go on my sermon, I say, all right, Daddy, let's go. And he's sitting right there. I always do. I like, Daddy, you ready? Let's go. People don't even realize it. If he probably don't even realize it, but that's what I do because I appreciate him and I love him that much.
Wow. And going through all of that, knowing how much of a impact that he's had upon you, transitioning through schools, state to state, what would you say was the thing that interrupted that path to know that you had a call on your life to preach?
I would say this. I did not realize or recognize my call until I got to college. And I would say I've been in church my whole life. But you know, when we were young, we made to go to church. Me and my cousins joke, and my aunts, we joke about it now to the point where church started at 9:30. We up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, fully dressed, while they walking around with their moo-moos and then rollers in their hair. We fully dressed, Vaselined up and everything. But Easter speeches, the whole nine, we were in it. But it wasn't until I got to college to where, because I realized getting older, and that I went from being made to go to church to trying to find myself in that transition, to trying to find my way in church and in with God. And I said I understood who God was, but I didn't know who God was. I didn't really experience it because of my age. I wasn't thinking about trying to experience God at that age. I was just thinking about just like as a kid, as a teenager, day to day, going to school, go to church, have fun, see my friends at church or whatever, and going about my business. But when I got to college, that is when I really truly found a relationship with God, because I was able to see people my age, my skin color, my background, giving God praise like it's nobody's business. And I'm saying to myself, whoa, it really blew my mind. I want to shout out to the university, UVGC, United Voices Gospel Choir, West Georgia, is where I joined the choir there. Now, I wasn't really a big choir guy. I was made it.
Find out you know how to sing.
No, girl, no, how to sing. No, listen, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I say I can hold a tune in the bucket. That's what I say.
Listen, that's all I
can do that much. My wife, she's the singer. Shout out to my wife, she's the singer, but I can hold a tune in the bucket. But anywho,
this is forward.
Anywho, no, but no, I found God there because I was able to see people with my like-minded around the same age, giving God glory, and I wanted to have that. I wanted to know more of that. And shout out to my friends there. They know who they are. It's a whole list. I'm not gonna go down that list. But if it wasn't for them, my wife told me, he can't sing. Stop it, baby. If it wasn't for them, I would not have experienced God. But how I got into transition to preach is I went to college for the wrong reasons. I went to college because I just wanted to go to college. Didn't have a goal, didn't have a dream. didn't have. I wanted. Let me tell you what motivated me to go to college. When I saw people in my high school have their faces, their picture, and their college on their homeroom teacher's door, and I said, I want my face on the door because my dad was going to put me into the military because he's a military guy. So he was like, no, you go to the military. I'm like, okay, cool. But then he got wind of 9/11. This is right before 9/11 happened. He like, nah, you might want to find you another route. So I didn't even have an idea. I didn't have a major. I just picked something. I really have a major. So I went to college for the wrong reasons. Ended up flunking out of college. But while I was in college, I found God. And I ended up flunking out of college. And I never forget it. I was in the den of my dad's house. And I was sitting there contemplating like my life. Like, what am I doing? Not in school. I was working at Chick-fil-A at the time, I think. And I literally laid on my face in the middle of that floor, crying. I literally laid on my face, just saying, okay, God, I surrender. I heard him clearly. I heard a small voice clearly. Are you ready now? That's all he said. I laid on that floor, prostrate, as they say, bohu crying. God, okay, I'll do it. And that moment on is when I said, okay, let me get myself together. And so I began to make that transition to finding myself as a preacher, as a spiritual leader. And I credit my godfather, my father-in-law, God rest his soul, Bishop Carswell. He groomed me and his son, which is my pastor now, Pastor Quincy Carswell II. He groomed us and he took me under his wing and pretty much showed me the rope, the do's and don'ts. I never forget my first sermon. I wrote my first sermon 2 or 3 times because I thought I had it. I said, he said, let me see what you got, son. I showed it to him. This ain't it. Ball it up. So again, I'm like, are you kidding me, man? I done spent hours. I said, okay. But it was to show me that you're not going to get it right the first time. You got to go back and get into the swing. But I credit my friends in the United Voices Gospel Choir, and I credit my godfather, Bishop Quincy Carswell.
Mm-hmm. So when going through life, dealing with, situations and changes and stuff like that, even to today, when you're faced with different challenges and things, do they necessarily cause fear to rise? And if they do, what is your go-to conversation to overcome that?
To be honest with you, transition hasn't always had, I've never been afraid of transition because I've had so many transitions in my life. Right. From going from my mother to my father, then being my father transitioned household to household to where live with us. When me and my dad laugh about it now. We've never had a moment where it was just me and him. Like if we stayed somewhere, it'd probably be me and him for like maybe a year. After that, my grandmother would end up being staying with us, or my aunts and my cousins or something like that. So transition I've never been afraid of transition. I've always taken challenges head on. I've always found myself facing the situation, and in that situation figuring out how to maneuver and finding my way in the situation. So when it comes to transition, I can honestly say I've never really been afraid of transition. Has it caused me to rethink some things? Absolutely. Because I've always tell people all the time, whenever you're faced with something, that's when you find out who you really, really are. You find out the true inner parts of you. Because you may think you're one way until you end up in a situation where it causes you to be a different way. And so you have to finagle your way through life, finagle your way through their circumstance. And in that, I've always my go-to has always been prayer. Always been prayer. When I say always, I mean always. I remember in 2010 when I literally had my Job experience. I call it a Job experience because I literally lost everything I had. I was working a good job, had my own apartment, my own car, and everything. April 22nd of 2010, I got fired from my job. My birthday is April 23rd. I'll never forget that day. April 22nd, got fired from my job. Didn't have any money, anything like that. Still had my car, still had my apartment. Then next to come was my apartment. My apartment got broken into on a Wednesday night. I was coming home from a meeting with my God, Pastor Quinn. We were meeting about the youth ministry. My wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, she called me and said, "Hey, where's your dog?" I had a dog in my apartment. I say to her, I said, she should be in the cage. She said, no, she's not in the cage. And I said, well, she might be under the bed. He said, no, she would have came at me. So anyway, long story short, my wife came. She says, I think somebody broke into your house. I rush home. I see my house ransacked, clothes everywhere, the whole nine. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know. I didn't know what to do. I never had experience like that in my life. Um, that night, me and her went to Waffle House, and I just cried. I cried, and I credit her. She's here. She can tell you. I credit her as well because that night we went back to her apartment, and she literally doused my head with oil. I kid you not. Her hand. She put all the oil she had on her hand and put it on my head and doused my head. And all I could do was just cry. That was Wednesday night. Friday, and I had Friday night. I had to MC a youth conference for my brother, Elder Barney Jackson. Went back Friday night to get the rest of my clothes. I come back, they wiped me out clean, took everything else I had. Didn't know what to do. The only thing I had on me was a white button-up shirt, short sleeve button-up shirt, some jeans, and some brown dress shoes. I'll never forget it. Went to MC the youth event. Had to push through that. I said, man, something got to give. Next thing I know, we had that was in June. In April, lost my job. Around May, June-ish, lost my apartment. Around August, I lost my car. My sister Terry can tell you this. We had a fashion show or a youth event in my church. I was the co-youth pastor at the time, and the people came and repoed my car outside that event at my church. Then he said, look, I don't want to embarrass you, man. We can take the car around back. You can take your stuff out, and we got to take the car. Like, man, and I can do. Lost everything I had. That was from April to about July, August time. I would say about October of the same year, I end up getting another job. Didn't have a car. My bishop let me drive our church van to and from work. Big orange church van with his face on it, to and from work. End up eventually getting the car and end up eventually getting a better job and things like that. So it went from bad to worse. That's why I said my job experience. I lost everything I had, but then I gained more than what I had before.
Yeah.
So the transition has never made me fearful, but it made me stronger. It made me stronger. And then my go-to was prayer. No matter what, I could smile through it. You would never know what I'm going through because I'm always smiling. I'm always, you'll never really see me down because prayer is my key. I go to prayer and I allow prayer to help me get through the things that I'm dealing with.
And outside of having that Job experience, what shifted inside of you that made you realize that your purpose was deeper than you originally thought it was?
It was when I was able to minister to myself. And what I mean is that throughout my Job experience, I was able to use that situation to not only minister to others, but to minister to me. Because I realized that if he can make it, I know I can make it. And if I can make it, I know somebody else is going through way worse than what I'm going through. Right. So what better way than to use what I've gained, what I've learned from that experience to help others. And then in that time, it was crazy because in that time, I would find myself being the one that people would come to while I'm experiencing my Job experience. People coming to me for advice about friendships, relationships, things they were going through. And it was just the will of God that he would allow me to tap into certain gifts that I did not know I had, where people would come back to me and say, man, your words really helped me. Your words really pushed me. Your words really encouraged me. And I did not realize it. And it was at that time when I began to say, dang, something that God's telling me to lean more towards. And as I began to lean more towards my gifting of encouragement, I see doors open. I began to see lives change. I began to see my life change. And I began to see people really tuning in to pretty much every word that I said. And I would say, I'm just a real humble guy. I'm a type of guy, like I said, me and you were talking before we got on here. I like to laugh, have fun. My wife can tell you. Right. And when I saw that people were gravitating towards me, I said, okay, let me not play with this gift. Let me go ahead and use it and utilize it to help others.
Just so simple and straight to the point. Like, just, man, listen, you know how long it takes for people to realize and understand their gifts. We talking 60, 70 years old thinking they have no purpose in life. Like they would just sit here to just, okay, God sent me here on earth. I done had my kids. I done had my, I've been married, da, da, da. All right, I'm done.
Right.
But not fully tapping into what God put inside of them.
Right.
And for you becoming and walking into your destiny, how has it been for you to maintain Marcus?
No, it's I've had that question asked me like 3 other times, honestly,
Mm,
because people wonder how I'm still able to be me, but
yeah,
yet and still walk in my calling, yet
yeah.
and still do what God called me to do. And the only simple answer I have is to really, that's the best way to do it, is be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people see the authentic you, then they'll know you're not playing. You can tell people, you can tell fake people, you can tell people that try to put on a facade just because they have a title, just because they have a certain following. I've literally been the same person since I can remember. I have not changed. If you see people, if you'll meet my friends in high school, they will tell you he has not changed. If you see people now, they'll tell you he has not changed. The only difference is that I'm more so, as my homeboys call it, spiritual now than I was before. Other than that, I'm still me. I'm still the same guy. But the thing is, um, I really truly understand. And I've grown to understand that that is what draws people to me, is the fact that I'm able to be real, be myself at the same time. I still love God. And when I tell you I'm myself, this is what you get every day, day in and day out. Nothing less. If you see me now, you ought to see me when I'm at home with my kids and my family. You ought to see me when I'm out with my friends. I'm still that guy. But when it comes
Mm-hmm.
time to tap in, and when it comes time to do what God called me to do, I can do that too. So I'm able to maneuver in every facet. I'm able to go to youth conferences and speak to the youth. I'm able to go to other conferences and speak to adults, speak to people that's been in the ministry for years and years and years. So I pride the gift of God for that, because He's able to allow me to be able to finagle the way. I don't know why I like using that word, but He allowed me to be able to maneuver throughout certain things, man. And just be yourself. If I was to give advice to anybody, just be you, because guess what? God did not create you to be somebody else. You can't be Joel Osteen. You can't be Bishop T.D. Jakes. You can't be Pastor Jamal Bryant. You can't be none of these big name pastors. You can just be you, and let people see the God in you through you. So that's what I would say.
Don't be answering my last question before I get to it, man. You supposed to say the advice for the people for the end, okay?
Oh, but no, don't worry. I got more. We good. We good.
So, and just listening to, and first of all, that tap in that you was talking about that you know how to do.
Mhm.
Listen, okay, we ain't gonna talk about it, all right? Because you can go there, all right,
Yeah.
and it don't take long.
No.
And if you don't pull yourself back, oh,
Mhm.
it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a wrap. Let me
Yeah.
just let me just put that out there because I've seen a portion of your tap. Okay, it ain't even a full fledged, kicking the door in. In the case y'all wondering what this tap in and I'm talking about, Marcus does a show every Monday night at 8 o'clock, right?
Yes.
On We Empower Network. And also every Wednesday at 12:30,
12, 12, 12 noon.
12 noon,
Yes.
doing where he does prayer and also giving words of wisdom. So in case you don't know, yes, I did a shameless plug. Make sure you go follow We Empower Network,
Please
like,
do.
tag, and share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me
Please
put
do.
that out there, okay?
Please do.
All
Shameless
right,
plug.
please do. And and watch what I'm talking about. Witness what he just not bragged on, but informed you of who you gonna get if you see him tapping into who and what God put inside of him.
Yeah.
But as you see him right here, he's Marcus. He is a
I'm
down
with
to
you.
earth guy.
Yep.
Just look, and you see Mrs. Ford on here. So, don't come over him with
Listen.
all
Please
that
don't. Listen.
because she about that life. Okay.
Please.
I didn't
Please.
I didn't look at some of her stuff.
Listen,
She bought that life.
listen. Try.
Okay.
Listen, I can say this: try Jesus. Don't try her.
Don't try her
Don't try my
because she
baby.
got hands. All right. All right. Now, my next question for you is with being a pastor, an elder, a dad, a full-time employee, a husband, what does that balance look like for you? How do you balance all of that? Because for some people, that may be a lot. Being a pastor, you're being pulled in so many different ways.
Absolutely.
People call you all times of the night. What is it like for you to put a balance or put a wall up and say, all right, this my time. I'm at home, or this is my shut off.
Right.
What is that like for you?
I can honestly say some days are rough. Some days are easy. But what
Yeah.
I don't show it. I do not show it. I promise you, my kids don't know when I'm tired. My wife, she don't know when I'm tired. Even when people are pulling on me at the church, they don't know when I'm tired because what I make sure that I make myself available. It's hard for me to say no. It's hard for me to say no. If somebody asks me if I'm available, if I can do it, even if I don't feel like it, I've always put others before me, always been that way. And but so balancing it, what I do, I kid you not, what I do, I try to get rest when I can. Let me tell you something. My wife will tell you, I need me a nap. I need me a nap. Listen, and it's usually around afternoon time. Like I will listen, 1-2 o'clock. I needs my nap. The kids know it. My daughter, she. Let me tell you what I do. My daughter, I'll go and sneak off in her room, and I sleep in her room. And I say, baby, don't let somebody come in and tell me leave Daddy alone. He's sleeping. So she's my bodyguard. So she say, no, Daddy's sleeping. You need that. So she's my bodyguard. But the balance. I just use what I have. I make myself available, but at the same time, I find time for me. I'm a night owl, so after all is said and done or whatever, my go-to when I'm done with the day, if my wife sleep, the kids asleep, I'll probably sit up, I'll watch me a movie, or I sit up and I'll play my video game just to get my mind off, just to clear my head, because I know that people need me. That's the thing that keeps me going. Is the fact that I know people have a need, and I know if I'm the one to fulfill or help with their need, I'm going to be there to fulfill or help with their need. But I make sure that I make time for my kids. I make sure that I make time for my wife and my family. They are my priority above anything else. If I have to drop everything I'm doing to get to do what they need me to do, or be what they be, or who they need me to be, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So my balance, what keeps me going, as you said, my balance is the fact that my family needs me, and the fact that somebody out there needs me. The same way, if the shoe was on the other foot, if I needed somebody, I would want somebody to be that guy for me too, or to be that woman or whoever for me too. So I just trust God. I know God will give me what I need if I need it or when I need it. So it's not a struggle, Since so I can't honestly say some mornings are rough, but when I'm up and I'm going, then I make sure I carpe diem. I seize the day, and I take advantage of every moment I have to make it the best day that I have.
Yeah. And do you show others how to do the same, or is that hard to show someone to do the same?
It's okay. I would say it's hard to show because I wouldn't want nobody else to be me. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know what it is, what their day to day is. Like I tell people all the time, I don't know what your it is. I don't know what your it may be, or I don't know what that is. So however you get through it, you use whatever you got to use to get through it. But at the end of the day, you have to get through it. First of all, you have to go through it, and then you have to get through it. See,
Listen.
So you about to make me tap in? I'm not trying to tap in.
Listen.
You have to go through it and you have to get through it. You have to do those two things. And if you're able to get through it, my wife just said that's what reactivate. That's what reactivate is all about. You have to reactivate your life. You have to reactivate what you're going through. You have to reactivate yourself. You have to get through the day. So when you go to lay your head down at night to go get some sleep, when that alarm clock comes on, or when you wake up, it's time for you to reactivate. It's time for you to get up, get out, do what you need to do to make the best part of your day. To make the best part of your day rather be the best part of your day. Whatever it is, make every single solitary moment count for you or make it count for somebody else. As long as you make those moments count, then you'll be all right.
I know that's right. And what has been your biggest life lesson through your journey?
My biggest life lesson, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, um, my biggest life lesson is to keep going. Keep
Mm-hmm.
going. I mean, because I often, and me and my dad, we that's my guy. We reflect on it all the time. Just I always tell him that we both grew up because he was a single father. It was just me and him. He was a single father, single parent. He was raising me on his own, making ends meet, doing whatever he can to make sure I didn't go without. And we both grew up in that vein. And he would always teach me and tell me to just keep going, never give up, keep going, no matter how it looks, no matter how it feels, just keep going. Because as long as you're moving, as long as you're progressing, as long as you keep going, you can never miss out on anything that you never had. You'll never be able to miss out on a certain aspect if you keep pushing. If it's meant for you to have it, you'll have it. If it's meant for you to be famous, if it's meant for you to have money, if it's meant for you to have certain things, you'll have them. And if it's not, guess what? It's just not your time yet. But as long as you keep going, guess what'll happen? It'll eventually come to fruition. It'll eventually happen. But as long as you just keep going, don't stop. Because when you stop, everything that you lost, everything that you went through, it has an opportunity to catch up to you. But nothing can catch up to you if you're constantly on the move. As long as you keep going, you'll be fine.
Okay. I hope y'all taking whoever watching, tuning in. I hope y'all just wrote that down because for some people I can say, and I'm a witness to this. You know, we go through situations as you was talking about earlier,
Right.
and we don't understand that in order to, you know, we sit and we cry, woe is me, and why am I in this or da 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 da, but we don't realize the healing is in the go through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's where you can't break through nothing if you're sitting in it. You know, you have to,
Absolutely.
you gotta move. You can't sit there and wallow and cry, woe is me, and you get up every day doing the same thing. You're
Absolutely.
crying the same sad tears, but
Absolutely.
you're not making any steps. You know, you're not taking the next step to pull yourself out of it. You're not doing anything positive. You're not praying. You
Right.
know, you're not getting around people that can speak life into you. You're
Right.
not speaking life into yourself. You're not mindful of what you're listening to. You're not mindful of what you're watching. You're not mindful of who you hang around. And
Right.
we get into, well, I ain't gonna say we, because I'm working on not doing it no more.
I got you. Yeah.
We have to understand how not to allow the enemy to come in to do more than what God gave him permission to do in the first place.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, and some people, you know, a lot of people give the enemy, you know, oh, the devil is busy. But what you have to understand, and this is just my philosophy now. I ain't no pastor, no preacher, ain't no Bible
I got you.
scholar. I don't know
I got
Genesis to Revelation, but
you.
in my opinion, if the devil was an angel and things happen, you were born in iniquity, you were born in trials and tribulations, born in it, right?
Right.
That means you were destined to go through things
Absolutely.
already, right? So that's already predestined for you to go through. Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't allow the enemy to come in to do more than what God has already given him permission to do anyway.
Absolutely.
So when we get in it, we find ourselves sitting in it and we give the enemy just what he wants. He
Hmm.
wants you to stay stagnant. He wants you to stand still and he wants you to not be who you are.
Right.
He wants you to know, like you just said, he wants you to stop moving. He
Right.
wants you to not, he wants you to just sit in quicksand. He
Right.
wants you to put your feet in the cement and not do anything and not go anywhere.
Right.
But we have to understand that that's not who God created. That's
Absolutely.
not who he built us to be. And
Absolutely.
just listening to you saying, you know, that is the biggest life lesson. A lot of us can learn, a lot of us can take that to heart. A lot of us can put that in our mind and say, I may be going through it on Monday, but I'm going to wake up on Tuesday and I'm going to keep going.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep moving. I'm gonna say, all right, God, what we doing today?
Right.
Okay, God, I'm here now. Where we gonna go after that?
Right.
Okay, I done made it through this. What's next? You know, you just talked about you had a whole Job experience
Man.
where you lost everything in a matter of what, 5 months?
Yep.
And it was back to back to back to back. And
Yep.
but even in that moment, God gave you favor because
Absolutely.
you could have lost your mind.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, some people lose their mind, jump out of windows, slit their wrist, and
Absolutely.
they try to end it all. But to see you sitting here and to hear your story and to hear your testimony, and you were saying you gained so much more
Yeah.
because when you went through, you had a girlfriend. You
Mm-hmm.
came out of it with a wife.
Absolutely. There
You
it is.
out of it with children.
That's
You
right.
came out of it and you all built a home.
That's
And
right.
now you have a job. And
That's
now
right.
you have a ministry. And now you're speaking life into other people. And so it's like sometimes you have to go through that Job moment
You
in
have to.
order to get the deliverance in everything that God gave Job. You got to
Yeah.
go through to get your double. You
Uh-huh.
go through your negative, but you got to go through that negative to get that increase, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
you don't do that. Don't do that. So I'm just, it spoke to me what you saying. You gotta keep moving.
Got to keep moving.
Don't give up the fight. Don't
No.
give up.
And to speak on that, what you just said, speaking of the Job experience, what we have to understand is that the devil has three jobs. He's come to kill, steal, and destroy. His job is to kill, steal, and destroy.
That's his
So
job.
whenever we go through anything, whatever circumstances, trials and tribulations, whatever you want to call it, it's supposed to happen. The Bible says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." It said it wouldn't prosper. It never said it wouldn't form. The weapon is going to be there, but it won't win. So what we have to understand and realize is that when the devil comes in, one is God ordained and God allowed. God is allowing the devil to come into your life. God has ordained the devil. How do we know he's ordained him? Because he already made him an angel. He ordained him an angel. Then he ordained the devil to be the king of hell. So he's the king of hell. So he ordained him. He ordained him. He orchestrated it. So what we have to understand is that the trials and tribulations we go through are from God. Ultimately, they are from God. But what we don't realize is that what we're dealing with, what we go through, is not meant to hurt us. It's meant to help us. Because there are certain things in life that we deal with, certain things in life that we go through that we don't realize is pulling part of us out. We have gifts, we have talents, we have things lying dormant in us that it may take a struggle to bring it out. It's not going to always be easy. It's not going to always be peaches and cream. It's not going to always be copacetic. You're going to have to go through struggle in order for God to bless you. You're going to have to go through struggle in order for God to bring out the best of you, to bring out what he has in you out of you. And the important thing about Job is that Job showed what it meant to be a real human. How do we know Job showed what it meant to be a real human? Because dealt with not only what he was dealing with personally, bless you again. He dealt with not only what he was dealing with personally, but he had to deal with his friends telling him these things. He had to deal with his wife telling him to say, "Look, Job, she got tired. I don't want to see you suffer. I don't want to see you go through. Just curse God and die. I don't want you to hurt no more. It's killing me to watch you suffer like this." So then he had to tell his wife, "No, baby, I got it. Naked I came into this world, and naked shall I leave. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Then he went on to say, "When he has tried me, I will come forth as pure gold," meaning that when I've gone through the fire, when I've gone through the flood, when I've gone through my circumstance, I'm going to come out way better than I was when I went in. So he had not only did he have to deal with stuff going on in his personal life, not only did he have to deal with his friends, not only did he have to deal with his wife being frustrated. Job began to be frustrated as well. Because Job went on to say, "Good, look, God, I'm looking for you and I can't find you. I'm looked to the east, the west, the north, and the south. I don't know where you are." But what Job did in his moment of pain, in his moment of frustration, what Job did, Job worshiped God and he gave God praise. That right there alone, when I went through my situation, I literally read, I promise you, Job is my favorite book of the Bible. When I read that book, I said, "Oh my God, if Job can give God praise after all he's done, what I'm going through is nothing compared to what he went through." And so I would always say to myself, as long as I'm giving God praise while I'm in my circumstance, then he has no choice but to bring me out of my circumstance. In other words, if you're able to give God glory, I hope somebody's hearing me on this. If you're able to give God praise. And like Isaac Curry said, praise him in the middle of it. If you're able to praise God in the middle of your circumstance and your situation, then guess what? It causes God to move. So our praise, especially, you got a true, genuine praise. That's why it's important to be yourself. If you're giving God your true, genuine praise, you're giving God true, genuine surrender. He has no choice but to move on your behalf. So if you're sitting in your situation, if you're sitting in your circumstance and you're doing nothing, you're not praying, you're not seeking God, you're not, if you're just sitting in there saying, woe is me, like you said, if you're saying, woe is me, guess what? God is not going to move. God's going to sit on you. As long as you're sitting on God, God is going to sit on you. But when you move and when you praise and you give God glory, it causes God to move. How do we know that? Because the Bible says that God inhabits the praises of our people.
Come on,
inhabits it, meaning that he lives and dwells in our praises. And if he lives and dwells in our praises, that means it causes us not only to move, but he causes things to shift in our life. So as you're moving, your situation is shifting. It's shifting from bad to blessed. It's shifting from mess to miracle. It's shifting from pain to purpose. So you have to understand that. See, I'm not going to do it. You have to understand that when God causes you to shift, he causes your situation to change, he's going to cause you to shift from bad to worse, like Job did. I'm not doing it.
Tag you it, brother. You was shaking your head at me. It's your turn.
Nope.
So, okay, in wrapping up tonight.
Yes.
I know we have, We Empower Network. You have your shows there. You do reactivate on Mondays, and prayer in. I forgot the name of the show on Wednesday.
Wednesday worship and prayer.
Wednesday worship and prayer, right?
Yeah.
So, besides following you on We Empower Network, what else do you have going on? What, like, just tell us all of this stuff, like how you follow us on social media and different things like that.
Well, you can follow me on social media at my name on Facebook, Marques Ford on Facebook, on Instagram at mford23, MFORD23. Also on my Instagram as well for Reactivate the Moment is Reactivate the Moment, and Facebook is Reactivate the Moment as well. And YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube page at Reactivate the Moment as well, where you can find all my motivation, all those things on every one of those platforms. Also be sure you can, if you listen, I'm gonna do a shameless plug. If you're looking for a church home, amen, you can go to the Covenant Church. The Covenant Church. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well at the Covenant TL. At the Covenant ATL. Go to our webpage www.thecovenantatl.org, and you'll see our pastor and first lady and myself in one of those pages. But if you're looking for a church home in Decatur, Georgia, address is 1700. Decatur, Georgia 30032, where our pastor is the esteemed Right Reverend Quincy Lavelle Carswell II. You can, if you're not able to join us in person, you can join us online on Facebook and YouTube as well. But other than that,
you better plug.
Listen, I gotta shout out my church, man. I love my church, man. Other than that, that's where you find me on social media. And like I say, man, if anybody needs prayer or wants to talk or anything, you can email me at reactivatethemoment@gmail.com. Reactivatethemoment@gmail.com. Also, right here on the Win Network, where we, all we do is win.
And that's WEN.
Right, W.
We Empower.
That's right.
WEN.
That's right.
Okay, so first of all, I have to say thank you for being here with me. Can you hear me? Because you froze. Can you still hear me?
I cannot. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I want to say thank you for taking your time out. I know this is the first week of school. We got these kids that we got to put in the bed, and you have such a productive life. I'm not gonna say busy. You have such a productive life, right? Yeah. So you always producing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's Christians or kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need you to go be great. All right, be great. So thank you for carving out this time to be on the F.L.Y show. I greatly appreciate you. This has been such a phenomenal interview. I can't even call this an interview. It was a conversation.
Absolutely,
know more about your story and shedding a lot of light on who Marques the man is. You know,
Yeah.
who Marques the elder is, who's Marques the dad, the husband, you know, just getting to know more about you and who you are and what God has inside of you. It has been a true blessing, and I just thank you so much for just being here with me on tonight. Thank you.
No, listen, no, I appreciate you. We have been trying to get this thing going for a good couple months now. We had to move and get some things. I'm just glad that I was able to have a time and space to talk to you, and I appreciate the conversation. Like you said, it's smooth. It ran very smoothly. It was more no question and answer type. It was just conversation
Yeah.
amongst people. And like I told you, I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide. I love to share my story. A lot of people don't even realize what you're going through until you share it. And a lot of people didn't realize that my story, what I went through. They just know, they see me now. As my bishop would say, you see my glory, but you don't know my
You don't
story.
know my story.
You
I
don't know
know
what
that's
I'm
right.
going through, what I've been through. But I thank you for the opportunity. I thank everybody that tuned in all the way from Memphis, Maine. I thank you for tuning in. Shout out to my folks in Memphis. Thank you for everybody that watched. And my hope and my prayer is that through this conversation, you were able to get some type of nugget. You were able to get some type of word, some type of motivation, or some type of deliverance through this, through whatever you're going through. And just at the end of the day, I just encourage you to keep pushing, keep going, and keep making it, and to make every moment count, and that it is your time to reactivate. And don't forget to reactivate your moment.
And I was going to ask you, can you close out with a word of advice? But that's it right there. Reactivate your moment.
Reactivate.
And as I like to close, thank you all so much for everyone that tuned in. Again, all the way from Memphis, here in Atlanta, different areas of Tennessee, New York, Georgia. And again, a special thank you to Mrs. Ford for
Yes.
joining us on tonight in these comments.
Yes. Hey, babe. Hey, boo boo.
You better come on. Thank you so much, Queen Ford, for coming in on here and joining on and watching us on tonight. I thank you so much for your presence. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in with me here every Wednesday night on The Fly Show. I am yours truly, Jasmine D. Milhouse. And you know I like to close with, make sure you first love you because you absolutely deserve it.
That's right.
You all go to enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.
Bye.
I'll be your temple. I'll be your sanctuary.